Ian, great to have your company again. It's been a wee while since we've been together on camera, so I wanted to kind of start by making sure that we don't overlook the buzz and the feel-good factor from Wednesday night. I was watching those supporters leaving the stadium from the main stand, looking at the social media clips, and it just seemed to kind of embody the feel-good factor that's in and around your squad just now.
Yeah, I think so. I think the way it happened as well helps, that buzz. I think we all travelled up to Dundee wanting to win the game, but to be 2-0 down, with 14, 15 minutes to go and to come back and then to dig out the extra time to a certain extent because we had opportunities ourselves, and then to go and win in penalties was obviously the icing on the cake. And the supporters, I knew they would travel up because they've been travelling all season to support us, and again we've managed to send them down the road in a slightly different circumstances without the 3 points, but going into the cup final.
What about something that's lost at times, I think, in amongst all of this is the assistant manager and the manager's emotions, because you're holding fort, you've got post-match duties, you're bouncing off the players, checking everything's where it is. What were your emotions? How do you feel about it?
I was pretty calm on Wednesday because I knew the players were a bit tired. I knew the situation that we were in with our numbers. I just asked them to go and do their best. And half-time is maybe slightly different. You're 2-0 down. I just had to try and install the belief that if we scored a goal at any moment in the second half without conceding, we were in the tie. And I said that would be that 87th, 88th minute, we'll still get another chance. But to get the goal, the second goal so quickly after the first one, it gave us a belief we could actually go and win the game. And then we had a decision to make the last 2 or 3 minutes. Do we throw a couple of boys up front? Because I'm not going to lie, extra time was the last thing we needed or wanted. So I asked the players, you have to bounce things off your players and see how they're feeling, because they're on the pitch doing the job for you and they all want to go for it. So we threw Ryan up top for the last 2 or 3 minutes, but when it gets to extra time it's slightly different. Yeah. Yep. But delighted to be through, really am. I've said it since the start of this cup, we've never treated this cup lightly. We've never put out players that didn't merit a game. We never rotated our squad unless we had to due to injuries. So we've treated it with the utmost respect, and I think we get deservedly a chance to defend it in the final.
I could pick out many players from Wednesday's performance, but I was kind of looking at the performances. I had a wee watch back of the game yesterday, and what caught my eye was that the descriptions that you've given of some players when you've come in as a manager, it seems that we're really seeing a body of evidence that backs up the kind of quality that you've always kind of known. Dylan Easton was one I wanted to speak about, because you consistently tell us about his love of the game, and he strikes me as one of these lads that you have to drag off the kind of training pitch. But he is just shining in a Raith Rovers jersey and looks like it's tailor-made for him. Tell us a wee bit more about Dylan. Yeah,
Dylan came here with a lot of hype, which he'd gained over the last season or 2 seasons by playing elsewhere. I always knew it was going to take Dylan a bit of time because he's playing at a higher level. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's tough. Dylan's a player that often gets man-marked, maybe by 1, maybe by 2, so he's had to deal with that as well, and he only had to deal with that at the end of last season. The only thing I've asked Dylan to do is practice his left foot, because he doesn't trust it enough. He's really good with it. We saw that with his cross against Arbroath, and then he's in pretty much the same position on Wednesday night and uses his right foot. So he's got that in his locker. He's got undoubted ability. He will frustrate the life out of people at times, but his good points are far outweigh his bad points, that's for sure. The amount of opposition managers that would love him in their team in this league is pretty high, so we're very lucky to have him. I'm delighted the way Dylan's adapted, but he did need time. He did need time to adapt to his new teammates, his new surroundings, and also a new league for him. So I can only see massive improvement now from Dylan. He's full of confidence. He, like you say, Dave, he loves football. He is so hard to get him. Even this morning, he's the one wanting to do extra, and I specifically said before training, no one's doing extra, but there we were 5-10 minutes later.
Well, you mentioned about patience there, and one lad that I want to kind of single out is Conor McBride. I mean, it struck me at Dens that he kind of, in many ways, battled beyond what his physical capabilities were, but he found a second wind, a third wind, and a fourth wind. A young player that we maybe don't really know how to assess as supporters because we've not seen so much of him. What's he got in the locker? Because we certainly seen the impact that he made at Arbroath. We've seen the impact through the week. What does he bring to the squad, and how good a player can he be?
Yeah, Conor was on empty. before extra time. He was only admit if we could have made a sub, we would have, and I did say that to him, and that's why we stuck him up front towards the end of the game, because he literally couldn't move, and if we're going to have numbers down, it's better to be at that end of the park. Connor's had to be extremely patient, there's no question about that. We had a good chat around the Christmas period, we were very honest with each other. He was extremely disappointed he hadn't had more opportunities. I asked him to give me till the middle of January, and if that hadn't changed, then we'd help him and let him go somewhere else, because you have to let guys go and play football, it's what they want to do. What I like about Connor is his attitude towards everything, his ability to take in information very, very quickly, which it's a huge quality to have as a footballer, because managers like players that you don't have to tell 2, 3, 4 times. It's a tough one to describe Connor, because I describe him as a moment player, because he shows real class moments in training and in games. You've seen that with his goal up at Arbroath. And we have to develop him into being a more influential player out with that, and we will, because he's got all the attributes. He can go both feet, he's got decent height, he's got decent physicality, he's also got very good speed, which we saw against Dundee in the opening 10-15 minutes. He just needs game time. It's not been the right moments to bring him on in certain games, it's not been the right run of games. There's a lot of good players in his position, but certainly he's stood up since January. He's a credit to himself for doing that, and his family as well, because they're obviously big advocates of him as well. I like him, I really like him, and that's why I never let him go out in January.
We were kind of chatting off camera while Neil was setting up on Wednesday night. We're speaking about Robbie, the kind of hero of the passing. At that point we were speaking about his preparation, his work ethic. We mentioned that it was only 5:30 match day that he realised he was playing. It wasn't until probably we all got home and we watched the footage and we seen the gamesmanship. And what really struck me is that it was never rude, it was always on the money, but it was seeking that extra bit of advantage. Tell us about Robbie, tell us about his presence in the squad and how important he is, not only as our goalkeeper but as our goalkeeping coach.
Yeah, firstly as a goalkeeping coach, I said it on Wednesday night, he's up there for me as one of the best in the country. He's got a huge advantage on a lot of them as well, because he started doing his coaching at a young age, I always say, as well, learning from his father and his uncle, who's also a goalkeeping coach, so he's a good grounding. But then it's over to him. His preparation is excellent. He doesn't leave any stone unturned. He's selfless. It's a huge quality again to have. He's not interested in his own gains. He's always there for his goalkeepers, Jamie and Andy, always trying to improve them. Gives them so much information back. He's always doing his video analysis of the games before anyone else. It's kind of what he wants to do going forward as well, going into the coaching. So he's got a fantastic opportunity here to do that, and I can see Robbie going to really good things in football as a coach. He's still more than capable of playing, as he showed that on Wednesday night. And I think, I try to drum into all young players, if you prepare yourself, have the right attitude and have the right desire, you'll get your rewards in the end. Now the rewards might not be lifting the World Cup or Champions League, but the rewards will be level to where you are in football. And for Robbie to come in and show his experience is a fantastic example to any young, not just young goalkeeper, but young players, and how to prepare and how to get your mental strength ready for a game.
It's always an easy question for guys like me when we're on a good run to throw in words like resilience and potential, but listening to you on Wednesday, I kind of left feeling a wee bit that over recent times, is there a sense that we the supporters are starting to see your team the way you see the team?
I think so, I hope so. As I've said since day one, it takes time to build good stuff. You don't get anything easy that's good in life. You've got to work hard for it. You've got to believe in yourself and believe in others around you and get the right people as well. The players had a huge change in the summer. I've asked them, it's just small things. I like to press in a different way from the previous manager and maybe some other managers. I like to do different things, and the players have to adapt. It's not easy for players to adapt. Every club goes through a transitional period, be that in the top leagues or the bottom leagues. But I think we're ahead of schedule, and I've always felt we're ahead of schedule. I've always been really happy of where we were. As I say, at Airdrie it took me 3 years to build the team I wanted and get us playing how I wanted, but we had to go through a little bit of hurt, we had to miss out on a couple of opportunities, and we had to take a few beatings along the way as well, but the end goal was always the same. It just took a little bit of time, and I could just see players now really trusting themselves. There's going to be hiccups. There's always hiccups in football, and always hiccups when you're playing against a good level of opposition, but we're slowly but surely turning the screw of those defeats into draws and those draws into a couple of 3-point wins, which are huge in this league, and we aim to continue that.
You spoke about the need to make sure we're not a team that are known for having a kind of soft underbelly. Is that being addressed by virtue of this kind of gang mentality that we seem to see around about the place?
Yeah, I think so. I think football's I would say, a very fickle world in terms of not many people can keep secrets. I know what other teams think about us, and I know they think we're soft. It's probably the first time I've admitted it, but I know what they talk about, and I know they think we're a really good football side. But I can assure, when players hear that other teams think they're soft, then they step up a little bit and they want to show everybody and prove them wrong. I don't think for 1 minute we're soft anymore. I think we're really resilient. I think we're really strong. We show that with our character, not just in the games we came back in the last the last week, but there's been times when it's been, we've lost 2 goals against Morton here, for example, against a really physical side. We never look like we're going to crumble and lose a third.
Let's move on to the cup tie. That's a mouth-watering one that lies ahead of us in kind of 24 hours or so. A day off for the boys yesterday. I think it's probably a bit of conditioning today. I didn't see many hobbling on the way out. They were full of the joys of life. How did you prep the squad today, and how are we in terms of our physical and mental resilience?
Yeah, we're very light today, like the session we've had all season, to be honest. We had a couple of boys in a wee bit more just before training to check their injury situation, which has been positive, so Thomas and Jamie will be ready for tomorrow unless there's a severe reaction in the next 24 hours. Unfortunately, Lewis is going to miss out, but we'll hopefully see him back in the training park at some point next week, maybe ready for the Queen's Park game. But we go with what we have. We really look forward to the game. The players will be fine. By the time they come in here tomorrow at 1 o'clock, they'll be ready to go.
Any wider availability in the squad, given that we were so light in numbers on Wednesday night?
Well, Greg Young comes back from his cup tied, but obviously William misses out on the cup as well. So we're in a wee bit better shape than we were on Wednesday night. Still not probably where we'd like to have been going into a really big cup tie, but our 11 starters are really strong. And again, it comes back to needing players to step up when you need them. It's an opportunity if they get that chance. In
terms of your own preparation, there's a bit of a narrative, probably outside of Kirkcaldy, that now's the time to get Motherwell. You never take anyone lightly, let alone a Premier League team. How did your preparation go? How's the scouting looking, and how's the team round about you supporting you?
Yeah, we've watched them now 2 or 3 times in the last games. I was at for part myself last midweek against St Johnstone. Didn't think Motherwell were too far away, to be honest. I thought St Johnstone did shade the game, but against these teams and these quality players, you've got a player in that team that was at Wembley a couple of years ago and snuffing out England, so we can treat them lightly at our peril and not get too excited. Yeah, we'll be well prepared. We'll be very respectful to Motherwell as they have been to us. We know it's going to be a very, very difficult game. Our aim is to make sure that they know it's going to be a difficult game.
Well, we're hoping to look kind of northwards of kind of 4,000 supporters, both ends kind of bustling there. Tell us a wee bit about your relationship with Raith Rovers supporters, and what's your tactical advice to Raith Rovers supporters coming tomorrow?
I mean, I'm not trying to, what's the word I'm looking for, patronise anybody. I've always said that you support the club, you support the team, you support the players. There's going to be millions of mistakes tomorrow by all of us, supporters and players and staff. Probably make 10, 15 before we come into the stadium, because that's life and unfortunately that's football. The players need all the backing they can get. It's as simple as that. When the Raith Rovers fans make the noise and they get right behind us, it's really loud and it's really good. I think we saw that against Dundee at half time. The boys were going to that changing room and they were getting 100% backing from everybody. But we also have a duty to make sure the supporters have something to shout about. And if they see 100% determination, commitment, effort and work rate, that's a starting point for us and our foundation.
I've been doing this for many years, and it always strikes me before a kind of big cup tie that players never show nerves. What they show is excitement, maybe a wee bit of trepidation. In terms of your own relationship with kind of cup competitions, what advice do you give the players before they go over that white line?
I've said it for a long time, and I don't mean to disrespect anybody that's won the Scottish Cup or any other cup, but all you need is a bit of luck in cup competitions. I don't believe you need that in the league. I think in one-off games and one-off ties, anything can happen. We've seen that so many times over the years. We will still need to perform at a really high level to win the game, or even get the game to extra time, because we know how dangerous Motherwell are going to be. We go into the game with no pressure. There's certainly not a lot of pressure coming from each of the players. They know the demands that we've already set. They know what we expect from them, and if they don't do it, then we'll change it. It's as simple as that. But the players are in a really good place right now. They're on a fantastic run. They're at home in front of their home supporters. They must perform and make sure, if it doesn't go our way, so be it, but they must make sure that Motherwell leave here knowing they've been in a heck of a game.
You say that if we need to, we'll change it. I'm thinking particularly across the last number of weeks, you've made really key changes, and the decisions from the bench have impacted in the game quite significantly. You got a plan B and a plan C for tomorrow?
Not yet. They have made a difference, but again, it doesn't. I give the players all the credit, because they've made me have these options before. Some of them weren't performing at the levels I needed in training. I couldn't really get them on the park because of that. But since we've had chats, they have. So it's full credit to them. You look around and you've got options all over the place. I know we're depleted at the moment, but in general terms, up until last Saturday, we were in a really healthy position with a really quality squad. We know cup-tied players. That's the way it goes with loan players normally, so we welcome them back for our next league game, which is great. But full credit to the players. They're the ones that have to go out and play the game. They're the ones that have to go out and take the physical knocks and the mental knocks more so than as a staff. So we're there to support them, we're there to help them, and we hopefully get them over the line again tomorrow.
You always indulge us with your time and your company, and so we'll thank you for that today, and most importantly we'll finish off by saying take the best wishes of all of us Raith Rovers supporters into that dressing room for tomorrow.
Thank you. Cheers, Davey.